Video 4. So we will continue with the counseling. So next we will go to organization of counseling services. How do we organize? The term organization refers to systematic planning, coordination and carrying out of a certain activity within a given infrastructure or framework. So how to organize, that is what is organization. Okay, so it should be done in a systematic way, planning, coordinating and carrying out of certain activity within a given infrastructure and framework. Okay, so it is based on certain objectives, such as what are the objectives to be kept in mind when we organize the counseling process. So to make pupil able to doing satisfactory adjustment to environment. So make sure that you keep the person or counselee comfortable in the environment to help in diagnosing the problem faced by the help seeker. Even a counselor should be able to identify what is his problem. Okay, then to guide the pupil individual in development of insight. So already we have seen, right? So where we have a counseling, indirective, type of counseling. So the person should be able to diagnose, he should be able to set goals, okay, and then he should be able to develop insight, how to solve the problem. And it helps the people to explore ability. So what actually happens is we are strengthening the other person to explore abilities, aptitudes, potentials and interest of his own. To establish referral services to the one who needs help. If he needs help, we can also give them certain referral services. Then to develop self-understanding and adjustment. So counseling process are needed for the following purposes. So for what do we need? Total development of students, making proper choices, making the best possible adjustment, helps in identifying special needs and the others. Okay, so these are the various things that we have to keep it in mind. Okay, so counseling services are needed for following purposes. So these are the main purposes of counseling when it comes to counseling the students. So it helps in total development of student. Counseling services make the student understand themselves and also make the teachers to understand the students, and then it helps in experiencing the new real life situations. Counseling lead to organization of these experiences that contribute to their total development. Students understanding teachers, teachers understanding students, so it will be easy to cope with each other. Okay, and it helps in the organization of these. It leads good, counseling actually lead them to organization of these experiences, which will contribute to their total development. Next, you have making proper choices. So when we make proper choices, okay, for it can be for jobs, future, variety of fields, jobs and courses. If they are having any kinds of doubt or, they feel, which one to take it, then counseling would be able to, give them an insight, which one to select, how to carry on. Next, making the best possible adjustment. So these services, counseling services, will be able to help them in making best adjustment to a problem. If a problem is not tackled, it may lead to problem in adjustment. It makes one to go with peers, siblings, parents, etc. So we should be able to, teach them and guide them, how to counsel them, how to, coordinate and work with others, how to adjust with others. Okay, to solve the problem. Help in identifying special needs. It identifies the one that requires special need, which requires immediate care or counseling or discussion. Okay, so these are the purposes of the counseling process, and others like it helps in ensures proper utilization of time, helps in checking wastage and stagnation, helps in vocational development, and then motivates students from weaker sections of society, minimizes incidents of indiscipline. So when we counsel, they will get to know their importance, their future responsibility. So every kind of indiscipline, ill manners can be changed. Okay, so these are the purposes. This you can also write when they ask for purposes of counseling. You can write this also. Okay, next we will go to role of a counselor. So what is the main role of a counselor in the counseling process? So far we have seen steps, right, in counseling process, how to do it, and then types of counseling process that we have seen, and then purposes of counseling process that we have seen. Okay, so now we will see what is the role of a counselor. So according to Meyer, the primary function of counselor is you have to schedule the interview, when it has to be kept, setting the interview. So settings where it has to be kept. Okay, preparing the interview, how you are going to talk, and prepare yourself as a counselor, conduct the interview. So on the fixed date and time you have to conduct the interview, and you should record the interview, so whenever required you can replay it and you can listen for the better development of the goals. The following are 4 other functions of a counselor. Group guidance, as we have seen, one of the type of counseling is group guidance. So he should be able to do group guidance, meeting the staff and getting their cooperation. So if students are coming or any from any organization, make sure that meeting has to be conducted with the staff and to gain their cooperation, meeting employment bureaus and collecting information. So sometimes it can be higher authorities or the colleagues, meet them and try to extract as much information as you can as a counselor. Meeting of social agencies, so in case of any kind of further referral services, so the counselor should be able to guide, right? So for that he should also have a meeting with the social welfare services. Okay, and then preparation of counselor is also very important. Now counselor should be able to prepare. Okay, so we will see in what all terms he should prepare. So counselor plays a vital role in counseling process. He needs to process many qualities for performing the specialized task of counseling. He needs strong preparation of counselor in 3 aspects, that is educational preparation, experience and personal fitness. So when we talk about educational preparation, master's or bachelor's degree in teaching and education, so not all can become counseling. They should have so we study psychology, so once when you do your BSc or a GNM nurse, still you are able to counsel a person, because as we are studying psychology. Okay, so they should possess masters or bachelors in psychology. Okay, and then basic courses in guidance program. So now if you see, there are various certification course like counseling and guidance. So even after your BSc you can take up specialization in the counseling and guidance, and you can prefer working in colleges or certain institutions where they need a counselor. So experience, 2 years in teaching or counseling, 1 year of cumulative work experience in the field of school program. So if you really want to become a authorized counselor, then you should have worked in the field of the school. Okay, for 1 year or 2 years of experience is required. So if you are in teaching, 2 years of teaching or counseling is required, but 1 year of cumulative work experience in the field as a counselor for school children also is required. Then 3 to 6 months of supervised counseling experience in school activities like working within the community, volunteer working with NGOs. So non-governmental organization also you could have worked for 3 to 6 months. Okay, so for all these experience are required. Okay, so when we say you are a counselor, then all this preparation is required. You should hold master's or bachelor degree, and then you should have 2 years of teaching or counseling, or 1 year in the cumulative field of the school program, or 3 to 6 months in any kind of school or NGOs in the community. Then you have personal fitness, positive mental, physical, social and spiritual health. So if you are a counselor, you should have health in aspects of mental, spiritual, social, okay, and then physical health. Okay, so you should be fit enough to become a counselor. Okay, so you require education, experience and personal fitness. Okay, next topic we will go to what are the various tools that is used in counseling. Okay, so when we say tools in the counseling, then you have various test tools like testing tools. There are 2 types, psychological testing and non-psychological testing. So under non-psychological testing you have observation. You observe what the person is doing, anecdotal. Once when the incident is over, you make a record of how the person has performed or behaved. Okay, cumulative, it is a long term records. Cumulative record, okay, you have cumulative record, right? So we keep a note of, there is a printed thing that is given for first year, second year, third year, fourth year. So cumulative record, right? So like that, behavior record also will be kept. Okay, that is called as cumulative record, which will be used for as a long term record. Then interview can be kept, sociometry. So we will be measuring how well is the social behavior. So these are various non-psychological testing, okay, which are testing tools which is used to analyze a person. So when we talk about the psychological testing, under that you have ability and then personality test. So when we say ability or personality test, we will check the interest in the personality. What is your interest and what is your attitude? Attitude test and interest will be analyzed. Ability, again you have two types under that. You have achievement and aptitude. Okay, so when we say aptitude, it is the test of talent, it is the test of gift that an individual possesses. So in achievement, again we will be seeing formative and summative test. So formative, it is like annual examination or some periodic exam that you give, right? So that is called as formative test and summative test. So it will help you to analyze whether you have passed or you have, failed. That is the achievement test. Aptitude, talent, and you have to discover your talent and gift. So under that you have two types, which is the general test and specific test. So under general test you have intelligence test and creativity. So they will check your IQ level and then creativity. Okay, how well you have any creative ideas. Okay, so that will be assessed under general test. Specific, verbal, okay, how you are conversing, your verbal test will be conducted through interview method. Then mechanical, technical and engineering students, for them this kind of test will be given, mechanical, and through this they will make sure, okay, whether to take this person for engineering or not, like an interview. Okay, so that is mainly carried out for mechanical and engineering students. And numerical, when we say numerical, it is a competitive test. Okay, so like choose the correct answer. Okay, so that test will be given to assess your competency. So formative, short term diagnostic testing. Summative, efficacy, of course, that is end of every year you write exam, right, annual examination, which is university exam, that is a summative. Formative is short term, as we give you session exams. Okay, so these are the tools of counseling, tools that is used in counseling. So I'm attaching 17A, 17B page number. I'm going to send notes again. Okay, so this is notes will be according to the sequence of the classes that I'm taking. So when I'm explaining tools in counseling, one side you can see the full diagram, because the other side I've kept explanation here and there, so it should not be confusing. So I'm sending two sets of notes, 17A, 17B. So please go through the explanations. So when you see here non-testing, interview, observation, I've explained what is anecdotal recording, cumulative record, and sociometry, which is used to measure social distance, social differences among each person, social behavior. Okay, and then psychological test, what all is included, and other things are explained on the other paper also, so you can go through both. Okay, so next, after the tools, we will go into one more technique of counseling. So how is this technique followed, that we will see. Okay, so that will be in the page 18. So when we see here, okay, we are supposed to, okay, so first technique is the problem solving technique. So how this mainly counseling, if you know, there are certain techniques that are used. Okay, so first one is problem solving technique. In that it includes following steps. So problem should be identified. We have to gather the data. When it is done through the assessment, or when the person is talking, ventilating the feelings, that time itself we should be able to gather the data. We should be able to assess. Next, hypothesizing the courses, that is the goals. Set the goals. Then we have to make decision, implementation, follow up. These are the steps that we've been seeing, right? Problem identification, gathering of the data. How is problem is identified? Through the data. Okay, then we have to set goals. We have to make decision with the counselee, ask them to implement and do the follow-up. This is problem solving technique. Second, discussion technique, which is also cooperative attack on a common set of problems based on common set of data. So you discuss with the other person and find out what are the problem, how it can be sorted out. Okay, what are the steps or the decision that has to be made with the help of the counselee. Next you have third one, role playing technique. So acting out real life situation like psychodrama, sociodrama, lecturers, case conferences, operant conditioning, aversive conditioning, reciprocal inhibition. So we allow all these, okay, so that they will be able to exhibit their problem or the behavior. So others, I think you should be knowing, right? So, psychodrama, sociodrama, give them an incident and allow them to act out, so you can be able to assess their, inward behavior, how they are reacting to certain kind of, problems. Or sometimes you ask them to do any kind of drama, to exhibit. So something they will do which is related to their self itself. Okay, so we allow this. Or lecturer, case conference. Okay, when we say operant conditioning, what is that? It is a new behavior, and individual changes its behavior because of the consequences or result of the behavior. So these consequences may be reinforced, okay, which can be positive or rewarding. So operant condition, I think you should have studied in your psychology also. Okay, it is a form of learning, and in it the individual also changes his behavior because of certain consequences which gave him negative impact. Again he will change, okay, and if it would have given him a positive rewarding, okay, so he will try to maintain the behavior. If not, instead of getting negative, he wants to maintain positive behavior now, because he knows that when there is a positive behavior he will be rewarded. So that is operant conditioning, learning through the experience. Okay, then aversive condition, when we say this, okay, in which noxious stimuli, or it can be anything. When we say noxious, it can be harmful, it can be poisonous substance or drugs, okay, or damaging stimuli. Okay, noxious stimuli are associated with undesirable or unwanted behavior that is to be modified or abolished, as a use of nausea inducing drugs in the treatment of alcoholism. So noxious stimuli, something which is harmful, poisonous, damaging to the person. Okay, there is this behavior, so this can be reverted back by using, if he is an alcoholic or drug using person, that medicine can be given to him, where the use of these drugs will cause vomiting, okay, severe vomiting or diarrhea once when they take alcohol. Okay, so that treatment is called as aversive condition, where you try to create an aversion, okay, aversion towards the drugs that he has been consuming, or towards the alcohol that he was doing, or towards the substance abuse. Okay, you give him certain drugs. So when you take the drug, when the person takes the drug and he goes to drink, what will happen? He will start vomiting. So that fear will keep him away. Okay, that is called as aversion condition. This is also including in counseling process. Okay, then you have reciprocal inhibition. What is this reciprocal inhibition? So okay, aversive therapy, I have also written another at the side. It is like is a form of psychological treatment in which the patient is exposed to a stimulus while simultaneously subjected to some form of discomfort. Okay, so it can be in case of, this is in case of noxious stimuli. It can be towards any kind of behavior, they don't like something, so make sure that you expose that to the person with other thing. Okay, now seeing a cockroach is so scared, right? So you create an aversion therapy, not to get phobic looking at it, but then just be with the person, exposed to them, and telling nothing will harm them. Reciprocal inhibition is almost like the cockroach example that I have given. This is used to treat phobia, where a state incompatible with the anxiety, such as anger or relaxation, shift his imagination from the fearful condition to a less threatening scene. Okay, so here that's what, if he is exposed, if he is scared of closed places, then make sure that you are with the person, take him to the closed, like lift, okay, or elevators. Then you can tell nothing to worry, just do deep breathing or give count, relax yourself, calm down yourself. Okay, so when as you go up, when you open, you will be out, nothing to worry. Okay, or of high places, okay, or for dark places. So exposing to the stimuli and then giving a long relaxation therapy for the person. Okay, so this is reciprocal inhibition. So these are all the types which is coming under role playing technique, right? We have seen so psychodrama, sociodrama, lectures, giving classes, and then case conferences, conducting conferences, operant, learning through experience, aversive condition, noxious stimuli is present. So giving drugs to create an aversion towards that substance abuse, reciprocal inhibition, giving relaxation, and then trying to allow the person to overcome the phobia. Okay, these are the various methods, and other methods are desensitization and relaxation training. So these are the two methods. So when you say desensitization, what is the main? It also aims to remove the fear response of a phobia, same like reciprocal inhibition. Okay, so the person is afraid of something, so we want to remove that phobia. Is a treatment or a process that diminishes emotional responsiveness to a negative, aversive, or positive stimulus after repeated exposure to it. So go with the person, whatever phobia, expose and tell them nothing to worry. If he's scared of dark places, take him to the dark place and tell them, see, I am there with you, nothing will happen. Give him relaxation, teach him that we will be studying now, relaxation technique. Okay, and tell him, just give counts, I am with you, nothing to worry. See what is happening, what is darkness doing to you. There is no devil or something, whatever is causing phobia. So we are exposing that stimuli again and again to desensitize it. Okay, and be with the person, don't leave the person alone. Next is relaxation therapy. Okay, it is also known as relaxation training. So this is a relaxation technique, also known as relaxation training. So in this method, process, procedure, or activity that helps a person to relax, to attain a state of increased calmness or otherwise reduce level of pain, anxiety, stress, or anger. So if the person is showing too much of tantrums, anger, stress, anxiety, pain, okay, so psychologically, okay, if they are disturbed, so what do? We give them another technique to relax them, like music, asking them to read books, or you can tell them, just close your eyes, imagine you are on a beach, walking on the road, you can hear birds chirping, or you can put them, in learning gardening, yoga, exercises, stretching, meditation, reading scriptures, praying. All these can actually help the person to relax. Okay, so these are the various techniques that are used in counseling. First one is problem solving technique. Without any other method, you identify the problem, set the goals, do the intervention, follow up. Second one, discussion. You talk with the person. Okay. Third is it's more advanced stage where a person is not able to solve. Then we use certain techniques like psychodrama, sociodrama, lectures, case conferences. Okay, where you talk about cases, how they overcame, operant conditioning. Okay, so operant learning through experience, aversive, creating an aversion towards noxious stimuli, reciprocal inhibition. So this is used to treat phobia. Shift his imagination from the fearful condition to less threatening scene. Okay, so when they are getting exposed, you can tell them, as I told you, scenery, examples, making them relax. Another method is desensitization and relaxation training technique that is used. Okay, so these are the various tools. Okay, so with this we will finish the class today, and the next class we will see about, I'll be posting the notes also now. We will see about, the crisis, management of crisis, and then we will end up with counseling issues in nursing for students. So probably next class this unit will be over for you. Okay, so please study, go through, any doubts keep it posted. Okay, take care.